Hi, and welcome back. In this lecture, we will go over the different building blocks that you should include in your persona. First, it's important to add a face to your persona. A portrait image of a random person is sufficient, but please keep in mind the following aspects. Try not to use images of celebrities to avoid any prejudice. Also, for obvious reasons, avoid to use images from inappropriate people, like criminals, for instance. Moreover, if you want to use an image of yourself or one of your colleagues, please keep in mind that this persona will be used for a long time and will be potentially be spread throughout the rest of the company. If you or your colleagues are fine with that, please go ahead. This is more optional, but you can also use additional imagery to better set the context. It helps to sketch the environment of the persona and reinforces behavioral patterns, goals, and motivations. An example can be an image of where the persona spends a lot of his or her time, such as at work or at home. Another possibility is to add images of the objects that the persona holds dear. This again helps to create more empathy around the persona. Also avoid stereotypical assumptions by choosing gender, age, and ethnicity neutral portraits, unless this is your target group, of course. Next to a face, you should also think of a name for your persona. Again, try to use a name that's as neutral as possible and that reflects the social environment of your customers. Also try not to use names from celebrities again to avoid prejudices. In addition, it's good to add a small quote that summarizes your persona's character. This will speed up the empathy buildup of the design team, and it's also easier to remember. Okay, we now have a face and a name. Next, we need to add some demographics and other basic information. This includes things such as gender, age, location, etc. First, a small word of caution. This type of information is often seen as being quite important in marketing environments. However, from a service design perspective, this information is of secondary importance because it's hard to drive design decisions based on that information alone. It has been proven that demographics are not a good predictor of needs and behaviors. To give you an example, we tend to assume that elderly people are on average less good with technology, but having done a lot of user research, I often found this statement to be untrue. Elderly people have in general more time on their hands and like to remain up to date with technology so that they can keep communicating with their grandchildren, for instance. It's more the working adults with full-time jobs and children that tend to be left behind as they have less time to immerse themselves in new technologies. So use demographics with care and with the necessary disclaimers. To make this part more relevant, you should consider adding insights captured during qualitative and quantitative research on your target group. And try to visualize these statistics in a format that can be easily understood by the design team and by the rest of the organization. Finally, the most important part of a service design persona is the detailed information. This is the real core of your persona. Here you should include any information which is relevant to your design exercise, such as characteristics, personality, attitudes, interests, skills, needs, expectations, motivations, goals, frustrations, preferences, background stories, etc., etc. The difficulty with this component lies in knowing when a description is sufficiently clear. You can really go overboard with this exercise, but personally, I would only include information that is directly impacting the company's core offering. To give you an example, knowing what type of perfume the customer prefers might not be very relevant given that the company's core business is about invoicing software. This is a judgment call on the service designer's side. Voila, that's it for the persona's building blocks. Later in the lecture on Case in Point, I will show you how I actually worked out a certain persona for a consumer bank. They were interested in developing their offering towards their younger client segments, but more on that later. In the next lecture, we will go over 4 different types of personas that you might encounter. See you there. Bye.